I still remember the first time I saw Harper in the cafe on 12th Street. The morning light filtered through the tall windows, illuminating his tousled hair and the gentle curve of his smile. I was nursing my latte, buried in grading essays, when he walked in. He moved with an easy confidence, casual jacket thrown over one shoulder, a sketchbook tucked under his arm. Our eyes met, and my heart skipped a beat. I brushed off the flutter as nothing, but Harper had that effect. His presence made the world seem a little brighter. We struck up a conversation when he asked to borrow my pen. His voice was warm, genuine, and within minutes we were laughing together. By the time I left the cafe that morning, I had his number scrawled on a napkin, and he had promised to show me his latest drawings. I walked away feeling as though I was stepping into a new chapter of my life, one filled with possibility and promise. Over the next few months, Harper and I became inseparable. We spent weekends exploring art galleries, trying every coffee shop in the city, and mapping out hidden street murals. He introduced me to his world of charcoal and canvas. I shared my love of old films and classic jazz. Our apartment soon overflowed with his sketches and my record collection, the walls studded with postcards from our travels together. Those early days felt like a dream, each memory sweeter than the last. I introduced him to my family at a backyard barbecue. My parents adored him, my sister fussed over his hair. He met my friends at late-night poker games, charming even the toughest cynics. I woke every morning next to him, his arm draped over my chest, his breathing slow and content in sleep. I thought I had found something rare and true, something that would last a lifetime. It began with small things. Harper returning from work calls looking distracted, a text message he left face down on the coffee table. One evening, he rushed out to meet a so-called old client, promising dinner was on him. He kissed me farewell and left with that familiar sketchbook under his arm. He returned at midnight, words tumbling out about a last-minute deadline. I nodded and smiled, but inside, a seed of unease took root. I told myself I was being paranoid. Harper was passionate about his art. Deadlines could be unpredictable. I focused on my writing, immersing myself in a story I was drafting, yet every time my phone buzzed, my heart lurched. When I peeked at his browsing history, accidentally on his open laptop, I saw unfamiliar restaurant reservations and a curious string of late-night social media likes on a woman's account I didn't recognize. But each time I mentioned it, Harper laughed, gave me that reassuring grin, and I let it slide until it became impossible to ignore. One Thursday evening, I came home early, intending to surprise him with homemade pasta. The hallway light was on, and I heard laughter drifting from the bedroom. As I approached, I noticed the bedroom door cracked open. I paused, a tremor of fear in my chest, and gently pushed it wider. There they were, Harper tangled in the sheets with a woman whose laughter shimmered through the room. My pasta bag clattered to the floor, and they froze. The room smelled like lavender and sweat, and the world tilted. Harper's face drained of color. The woman scrambled into her clothing, eyes wide with guilt. Harper's voice cracked as he stammered, I can explain. I didn't wait. I whirled and fled, heart pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. My feet carried me through the dark hallways, down 3 flights of stairs, and into the night where I collapsed on a cold bench. I wept until my tears ran dry, the echo of laughter from my own apartment following me like a curse. The next morning, I felt hollow. I returned home to find apartment door ajar and empty bottles on the coffee table. Harper's shampoo in the shower, his toothbrush at the sink. It all felt like a stage set for my devastation. I gathered my things in silence, every memory flashing before my eyes like fragments of a shattered mirror. First kisses, lazy Sunday cuddles, whispered secrets. I moved back into my old place downtown, the one bedroom I had rented before the relationship. The apartment felt smaller, colder. My solitude amplified every creak of the floorboards. I avoided calls and messages from mutual friends who didn't know what had happened. I deleted Harper from my social media, erased his photos, and burned the napkin he first wrote his number on. The glow of my laptop offered no comfort. I closed it and sat in darkness most nights, clutching the pale remains of my broken heart. It took weeks before I could breathe without pain. I found solace in my writing once more. I poured my anguish into poetry and journal entries. I ran through early morning streets, the air biting my lungs, each step a prayer for freedom from memory. I reconnected with old friends, dinner with Emma, late-night phone calls with Jonah. They listened without judgment, held me when I cried, and reminded me of my worth. Little by little, I reclaimed my life. I painted the apartment walls a warm gray, bought new art supplies, and signed up for a portrait drawing class. I rediscovered my love for jazz, spinning vinyl while I cooked dinner for one. There were nights when loneliness threatened to overwhelm me, but I learned to sit with it, to coax it into words rather than fear it. Every sunrise felt like a small victory. One rainy afternoon, I ducked into a bookstore to escape the downpour. I wandered over to the poetry section, my fingers brushing spine after spine, Sylvia Plath, Langston Hughes, Otter Lord. That's when I saw him. Callum crouched by the window display, rain dripping from his hair. He looked up, and our eyes met. His smile was tentative but genuine. We started talking about Neruda and came up with a debate over which poem captured longing best. He asked for my opinion, and I found myself laughing, the sound unexpected and delightful. The rain eased outside, and he offered to buy me a coffee. Nervously, I agreed, and we sat in a nearby cafe discussing everything from favorite bookstores to our childhood dreams. That evening, he walked me home, his umbrella offering shelter from both rain and fear. I discovered his kindness in small gestures, hot coffee when I held the cup too tightly, a gentle hand on my back as I crossed the street, gestures that felt like safety after the storm. When he kissed my hand goodbye, it felt like a promise that things could be different this. Over the next few weeks, Callum and I fell into an easy rhythm. We visited open mic nights, strolled through art fairs, and cooked meals side by side in my tiny kitchen. He was open about his past, an engagement that ended amicably when he realized the timing was wrong, and he never hesitated to reassure me when I flinched at late-night texts or unexpected calls. He gave me the space to heal while encouraging me to trust again. One night, as we lay on my balcony watching distant city lights, Callum brushed a strand of hair from my face. "I want to be careful," he whispered. "I want to earn your trust every day." I leaned into his touch, tears prickling. "I want that too." We kissed, slow and deliberate, and I felt something fragile and bright unfurling in my chest, a hope I thought I had lost forever. Just as I felt the contours of a new beginning, Harper swept back into my life. He showed up unannounced at my door one soft autumn night, drenched from a sudden storm. His eyes were red, regret etched into every line of his face. He begged for forgiveness, claiming he had made a terrible mistake and could not live without me. My heart thudded painfully against my ribs. Callum was there, holding me close, his knuckles white on my shoulders. Harper's pleas echoed in my ears, but so did Callum's quiet strength. I realized that forgiveness did not obligate me to return to him. I stepped back and turned toward Callum. "It's over," I said to Harper. "I won't let you hurt me again." Harper's shoulders slumped, and he finally understood. He left without another word, disappearing into the night. In the weeks that followed, Callum and I grew even closer. We built a life together grounded in honesty and compassion. We hosted poetry readings at my apartment and sketched scenes from our favorite parks. Callum introduced me to his parents, who welcomed me as family. I realized that loving again did not erase the past, but rather gave me the chance to choose a new path. One spring morning, we stood on a hill overlooking the river, petals